I'm Simon Tresadern. I'm the technical lead for the charity and faith sector within Q Underwriting. I've been with the company for about 2.5 years now. And I've been involved in charity and not-for-profit insurance for about 21 years with a number of specialist insurers. I act as the main technical specialist within the company, doing drafting policy wordings, rate reviews, underwriting Q&A, complex referrals, and lots more, including this sort of thing. I think the pandemic has impacted the charity and not-for-profit sector in a number of different ways, and individual organisations have been affected differently. Some have ceased to operate completely, either closing or mothballing for the time being, simply because they can't operate in the current climate. Quite a few have adapted their operations, either moving their activities into an online space or limiting their activities to just those that they can do remotely. And then there are those others who've basically taken up a challenge to provide services to help combat COVID-19. So there are hundreds of community organisations that have sprung up to help coordinate local responses to the outbreak and to help tackle the needs of the vulnerable. And many long-standing charities have started new projects to help support the community, from delivering essentials to the elderly, operating food kitchens, working with empty hotels to offer spaces for NHS workers. The response has been as varied as it has been impressive. A lot of charities have really struggled in terms of their funding. While donations have continued to come in and many have found new ways to provide services, there's many that have been unable to conduct the activities and do fundraising events which keep them going. From small events to large campaigns such as the London Marathon, the requirement for social distancing really has had a real impact on them. I think once things start to return to normal, the main change will be that there's much more of a focus by charities to try and secure their income streams and ensure they've got sufficient funds in reserve. I think we'll also see that there are voids in local services from organisations which are unable to continue. So it'd be nice to think that many of the people who've chosen to volunteer over this crisis will continue to do so once it's all over. Brokers and policyholders have long memories, and certainly where insurers are perceived as having tried to wriggle out of paying claims, they're not going to place their business there in the future. At the moment, charities are crying to get help from anyone, and there are people who will exploit that. So they should still be being as vigilant as they can in terms of trying to ensure that they're looking after their service users and their other volunteers. They really should be trying to cut corners in terms of background checks and risk management. Insurers are being as flexible as they can in terms of supporting the policyholders who've had to adapt in order to provide to continue providing these essential services. So we're continuing to provide cover for the contents, computers, etc., and staff are having to take those home to work from home. We're relaxing conditions around occupancy, as we know that many premises have been temporarily closed. We're reviewing policyholders' premiums where they've had to make significant changes to their operation. So, and then other little process things like continuing to hold cover if we can't get hold of a policyholder, just to really help reduce their worry. The broker's role at this time, I think, is going to be around guiding the clients, ensuring that they're placing the cover with the insurer that where the policy cover suits them the most, even if it means they won't necessarily get as much commission. In the event of a circumstance, that they need to give the client supports in terms of making a claim. Again, many charities are run by people who don't necessarily have that experience in insurance and could do with some hand-holding. I think we can do that in a number of ways. I mean, certainly the company and the product were formed right from the very start alongside some of the most prominent names in the not-for-profit sector. So really, we've built this from the ground up from the very start with the needs of the third sector in mind. The underwriting team we've got are experienced. A lot of us have many decades of experience purely in the charity and not-for-profit sector, so we really understand how actually things work there. And we're also quite flexible by being an MGA. We're able to be a lot more agile in terms of changing policy coverage and adapting to how the market's changing.